with that?
Well, I was told very categorically by ITV here, who are the NBC of the UK, they said, look, if you apologise for disbelieving her, you can keep your job. And I said, well, I'm not going to do that, which I think they probably knew. And I literally left that afternoon.
You continue to trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no. Sorry.
Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, mate, but not my
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do
This is
this.
absolute...
That was Piers Morgan, March 2021, the day he walked out of a multi-million-dollar contract, not because he lied, not because he broke the law, because he refused to say he believed Meghan Markle. But here's what they don't show you in the clip. The part that turned a routine media squabble into a corporate execution. Picture this, a long, polished boardroom table. On one end, a Duchess with a personal letter. On the other end, a veteran broadcaster who just told the truth. In between, a network executive with a choice.
Diabolical behaviour.
Meghan Markle, who, unbeknown to me, had written a personal letter to the chief executive of the company, who was a woman, and had said to her, I write to you as a woman and as a mother. You have to fire him. And I wasn't told that in the deliberations that went on that day. Had I known that, I would have gone public with the whole thing and had a very different argument with them. I would have just dug my heels in and went, you're going to really allow this Duchess to decide who works at ITV?
Protect free speech or protect the palace. They chose the palace. And then they went for the throat. Before we pull back the curtain on what really happened inside ITV's panic room, make sure you're subscribed to Celebrity News Wikipedia. We don't just report the headlines, we dissect the power plays behind them. Because what you're about to see isn't a story about one fired host. It's a story about how the woke media built a guillotine and called it a diversity initiative. So let's start with the exhibit. Exhibit A, the Oprah interview. March 7th, 2021. Meghan Markle tells the world that a royal asked about her baby's skin color, that a palace refused to give her son a title, that she had suicidal thoughts and asked for help and got nothing. Emotional? Compelling? And according to Piers Morgan the next morning on Good Morning Britain, not entirely believable. His exact words, I'm sorry, I don't believe a word she said. That's it. One sentence. No slurs, no threats.
That's exactly right. And I think we saw that definitely. I know I defended you on my show a long time ago when everything went down and you got fired and the media was spitting this as if you were a racist. I mean, it was all of the things that you could have said about Piers Morgan, I was like, okay, he's suddenly a racist now.
It was so preposterous. And in fact, worse than what happened to me was what happened to Sharon Osbourne, if you remember, at the talk.
No incitement, just good journalists saying, I don't buy it. Now watch what happened next. Within hours, Ofcom, the UK speech police, gets 40,000 complaints. ITV's switchboard melts, and Meghan Markle, unbeknownst to Piers at the time, writes a personal letter to the CEO of ITV, a woman, a mother, and she says, quote, I write to you as a woman and as a mother. You have to fire him. Let me repeat that. A Duchess, a member of the British royal family, wrote to a private company and demanded a termination. Not a request for a correction, not a call for an apology, a demand for a head. And ITV?
Where Cheryl Underwood, and the show's now been canned, I'm pleased to say, because it really died that day when they did this, because it's a show called The Talk. You're supposed to be allowed to talk. Sharon just supported me. She didn't even say she agreed with what I said about Meghan Markle, although now, ironically, I'd have been fired for saying the complete opposite. If I said I believed Meghan Markle after the Oprah interview, people would now fire me for believing Pinocchio, right? So at the time, it seemed so contentious and outrageous to disbelieve her or to think a lot of what she was saying couldn't possibly be true. Now it doesn't seem that way. But Sharon, all she did was say, I support Piers. We've been friends for a long time. We worked again on America's Got Talent with Jerry. And she was just showing a bit of loyalty to me without actually getting into what I'd said. And then Sharon was, what, even supporting him with these racist things he said? Hang on. What racist thing did he say? And it all blew up. She got blindsided. And she got fired from a talk, a job she loved, for having the audacity to support me, even though everyone knew I hadn't said a racist thing. Not one word.
They didn't hesitate. They gave Piers an ultimatum. Apologize or leave. He left, and then they spent 3 days pretending it was about standing against racism, except no one could actually name a single racist thing he said, because there wasn't one.
It was utterly shameful of CBS to do what they did to Sharon that day. And the fallout from that whole Oprah interview, if you watch the whole sequence of events, really a shocking attack on freedom of speech is really what it came down to. You could say something right now. I'm entitled to say, I don't believe you.
Right.
And you're entitled to say, well, I'm right because boom, 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 boom. But the idea that your first reaction is, if you don't believe me, you're racist because I'm not white. So, sorry, what? That's the criteria? I'm not allowed to disbelieve you because of your skin color? That's how preposterous it was.
This is the playbook. Step 1, accuse someone of a vague moral crime. Step 2, refuse to define the crime. Step 3, fire them for not confessing. Step 4, call it accountability. But here's where the narrative explodes. Because Piers wasn't the only target. The real victim, the one the media hoped you'd forget, was Sharon Osbourne. You remember Sharon, co-host of CBS's The Talk, rock wife, TV personality, and Piers Morgan's friend. When the firestorm hit, Sharon went on air and said, I support Piers. We've been friends for 30 years. I don't agree with everything he says, but he's not a racist. That's it. She didn't defend his skepticism of Meghan. She didn't attack the Duchess. She said, I know this man, and he's not what you're calling.
That you're speaking about at the top is it's really important to speak to this because in a way you either conform or you get fired once you get to a certain level in life. And we obviously saw this with you. It's like either you say good things about Meghan Markle because right now we're at the tail end of BLM and you can't insult a woman who's doesn't even, if I'm looking objectively, look black. I wouldn't have guessed she was black if she didn't offer it. But you're seeing that with Sharon Osbourne. It's like, okay, well, you now have to make a decision. Are you going to be a decent human being and a good friend and be honest about the fact that you know this man, you've known him for years, and he's not a racist? Or are you going to say, well, you know, Piers shouldn't have said the thing. Piece of your soul dies, but at least you get to keep your career.
Right.
We're seeing people confronted with that.
Well, I was told very categorically by ITV here, who are the NBC of the UK, they said, look, if you apologize...
For that, CBS fired her. Let that sink in. Sharon Osbourne lost a job she loved, a job where she sat around a table and talked because she showed loyalty to a friend. Not because she said anything racist, not because she attacked anyone, because she refused to participate in a public stoning. And the show? The Talk died that day. It limped on for 2 more years, then got canceled. Because you can't have a show called The Talk where no one is allowed to talk. Revenge is not a national security strategy, but in woke media, revenge is the only strategy. And it's not about protecting the vulnerable, it's about punishing the unscripted. Now, let's talk about the ticking clock, because this isn't just a celebrity gossip story, this is a national security question dressed in Hollywood clothes. Ask yourself, if a Duchess can pressure a major network to fire a journalist for disbelieving her, without a lawsuit, without a court order, just a letter, what happens when the government does it? What happens when a political party decides that any journalist who questions their narrative gets the same treatment? We already saw the answer in the UK, where grandmothers have been arrested for offensive Facebook posts, where the regulator Ofcom actually ruled in Piers' favor, saying that firing him would have been a chilling infringement of free speech. But here's the catch. The ruling came after he was already gone. The damage was done. The message was sent. And the message is simple. Conform or starve.
Yeah, you hate Jews.
Right, and it works the other way too. I see it on both sides, but this is where we've got to. And it's the same with the trans debate about trans athletes in women's sport. We may get to that, but I felt very strongly about that any attempt to challenge the accepted view that this is fair and rational to allow biological men to put their hands up, say they're women and compete in women's sport and hammer women into the ground, literally with their fists in boxing rings in the Olympics. The idea that if you do that, you are transphobic, that you have a hatred of trans people, I just find completely outrageous. And it's being used more and more by the woke left as a form of, as Elon calls it, a form of comedy.
That's the silent purge. No jackboots, no prison camps, just an email from HR, a Zoom call with a producer who says, we love your work, but the algorithm says you're problematic. A Duchess's letter folded neatly into a personnel file, and another voice deleted from the public square. Revenge is not a national security strategy, but it is an excellent way to hollow out an industry until only robots and liars remain. Here's the hard evidence they don't want you to see. Pull the public filings. Read the transcripts of what Piers actually said that morning on Good Morning Britain. He didn't call Meghan a liar. He said, I don't believe her. That's a statement of opinion, protected speech in any democracy worth the name. Then read Sharon Osbourne's statement. I support my friend. That's loyalty, not a crime. Then read Meghan's letter to ITV CEO. It exists. It was confirmed by multiple sources. A sitting Duchess wrote to a private company and said, fire this man because he hurt my feelings. And they did it. No court, no due process, no appeal. Just a pen and a palace. Now ask the unanswered question. Who else has that power? Because if a Duchess can do it, a senator can do it. A cabinet secretary can do it. A corporate board with a diversity quota can do it. And they are doing it. Right now. Every time a pundit disappears from cable news without explanation. Every time a YouTuber gets demonetized for hate speech that's just a quote from a politician. Every time a journalist is told we're going in a different direction. And the direction is always the same. Further left, further silent, further afraid. But here's the twist Piers Morgan figured out before anyone else. He didn't just get fired, he got vindicated. His book Wake Up went from number 2,000 on Amazon to number 1 in 3 days. His YouTube channel exploded. He started Piers Morgan Uncensored and built an audience that legacy media can only dream of. And Sharon Osbourne? She's now a free agent. No more CBS meetings. No more pretending to smile while the woke mob sharpens its knives. They tried to purge her, and all they did was prove her point. That's the pattern.
Really. This is communism at bay. I call it fascism. It's the same kind of thing in the sense of it's a group of militant people who are trying to shut down any dissent, trying to make everyone see the world through their narrow prism, be it communism or fascism. It's the same mindset. And we will destroy people who do not conform to what we have laid down is the new rule book for life. And people who believe in freedom of speech and freedom and democracy, you have to fight this with every inch of your life. Because if we don't, we will go down that path of communism, of fascism, of that.
But it is a spectacularly bad business model, and the legacy media is bleeding out because of it. So here's your call to research. Go to Pacer, search for the court filings from Piers Morgan's departure from ITV, read the Ofcom ruling, read Sharon Osbourne's lawsuit against CBS, if it ever becomes public, and then answer this question in the comments. If a private citizen with a title can get a journalist fired for an opinion, what stops a politician with subpoena power from doing the same thing tomorrow? Because that's not a conspiracy theory. That's the next chapter, and they're already writing it while you're watching cat videos. This is Celebrity Newsopedia. Like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because the next time a media executive panics and a Duchess writes a letter, we'll be here to show you the smoke before the fire, and we'll tell you who's holding the match.